Okay, so today we are going to do the talk through stories, Jim and the Beanstalk. We've been working on Jack and the Beanstalk, haven't we?
Yep.
But this is an alternative version called Jim and the Beanstalk. Jim and the Beanstalk.
Jim and the Beanstalk.
Lovely. Okay, so let's have a little look-see. Can you see that, everybody? And Mrs. Shuxiana?
I can.
Early one morning, Jim woke up and saw an enormous plant growing outside his window. Enormous is a really good synonym for big and for huge, isn't it? Great synonym. That's funny, he said. It wasn't there yesterday. I'll see how high it goes. And he began to climb up the plant. It certainly is a big plant, he said, as he went into the clouds. Certainly is another word for definitely. See how tall it is, going right up into the clouds. When he reached the top of the plant, Jim saw a castle. Love it. I'm hungry, he said. I'll ask the castle for breakfast. I hope they have cornflakes. Do you like cornflakes?
Love them.
Jim ran to the castle. Show me you're running, Mrs. Shuxiana. Bang, bang, bang. And he knocked on the door. He waited and waited until the door slowly opened by the very old giant. Aha! Said the giant. A boy. A boy. A nice, juicy boy. 3 fried boys on a slice of toast. That's what I used to enjoy eating in the old days. But I've got no teeth now. Come on in, boy. You're quite safe. Do you like my giant voice?
Loved it.
See if I can keep that up through the story. The giant shared his breakfast of beef and beer with Jim. Is your name Jack? He asked. He asked. Get carried away with my giant voice. No, said Jim. It's Jim. Did you come up a beanstalk? Asked the giant. I came up some sort of plant, asked Jim. It's that beanstalk again, said the giant. It came up once before. That pesky boy Jack. Pesky means annoying. That pesky boy Jack stole some of my father's gold and took our golden harp and our golden hen, and I've never really been happy since. And now I'm old too. I can't even see to read my poetry books because the print is too small. He doesn't look very happy, does he, Mrs. Shuxiana? He's looking very sad. Everyone show me sad? Haven't you got any glasses? Asked Jim. Only beer glasses, said the giant. I mean reading glasses, said Jim. They go on your nose and your ears. It's my eyes I'm talking about, roared the giant. Roared is a big loud voice, so I'll do that once more time. It's my eyes I'm talking about. Is that a good roar?
That was a good roar.
And he banged his fist on the table. Give me a big bang, Mr. Shuxiana. Bang! Love it. He's looking really angry now, isn't he? Very angry. These glasses are for your eyes, said Jim, and he explained about glasses while the giant listened very carefully. Get 'em, said the giant fiercely, in an angry voice, when Jim had finished. Get 'em for me and I'll pay good gold. That's one of our favourite phrases. Could you try that, Mr. Shuxiana? Get 'em for me and I'll pay good gold.
Get 'em for me and I'll pay good gold.
Nice, well done. Nice, scary voice as well.
Thank you.
I'll have to measure you, said Jim. So Jim measured the giant's head. Oh, I wonder if you could measure your own head and your adults' heads at home. We're moving on to measuring in maths in a few weeks, aren't we?
This is a giant tape measure as well.
It is, look at the size of it. The giant gave Jim a gold coin, and Jim climbed down the beanstalk as fast as he could, holding tight to the coin. Now you'll notice that phrase is a favourite phrase again, it's repeated. So let's try that together, Mrs. Shuxiana. Jim climbed down the beanstalk as fast as he could, holding tight to the coin.
Jim climbed down the beanstalk as fast as he could, holding tight to the coin.
He showed the coin to his mother, but before she could say anything, he got dressed and he ran to the oculist. We call them opticians. Opticians, it's the doctors for your eyes. The oculist could hardly believe his eyes when he saw the giant gold coin, but he set to work straight away and worked all night, and in the morning the glasses were ready. This is another one, you can see I've highlighted it in green, this is another favourite phrase that's repeated. So, my turn, your turn, Miss Shuxena. Whatever the person is, could hardly believe his eyes when he saw the giant gold coin, but he set to work straight away. He worked all night.
The something could hardly believe his eyes when he saw the giant gold coin, but he set to work straight away. He worked all night.
Perhaps you could try joining in if you hear that phrase again. Jim carried them home. Look how big they are. Then he tied them on his back and he climbed up the beanstalk. The giant loved his glasses and began reading rhymes to Jim as soon as he put them on. "You're a good boy," he said. "Now I can see you properly. I wonder what you'd like to eat. I can't eat anything much nowadays because I've got no teeth." "Why don't you have false teeth?" asked Jim. "False teeth?" roared the giant. "Never heard of them." So Jim explained about false teeth while the giant listened carefully. "Get 'em," said the giant when Jim had finished. Are we ready to join in with me?
Yep.
"Get 'em for me. I'll pay good gold." Well done. So Jim measured the giant's mouth. "Make 'em big," said the giant, "and sharp. I like sharp teeth." The giant gave Jim another gold coin and Jim climbed down the beanstalk as fast as he could, holding tight to the coin. He showed the coin to his mother, but before she could say anything, he ran off to the dentist. The dentist could hardly believe his eyes when he saw the giant gold coin, but he set to work straight away. He worked all night, and in the morning, the teeth were ready. Jim carried them home, then he tied them on his back, and he climbed up the beanstalk. The giant loved his new teeth. He jumped up and down, champing his jaws, gnashing his teeth until sparks flew. So he was biting and grinding his teeth. Then the giant sat down and looked at himself in the mirror. "Ah," he said, "I used to be a good-looking lad. Great head of flaming red hair I had, and now look at me." "Well, why don't you have a wig then?" asked Jim. "A wig?" roared the giant. "Never heard of a wig." "Oh, never. Never." So Jim explained about wigs while the giant listened very carefully. "Get one," said the giant when Jim had finished. "Get one that's red and curly. I'll pay good gold." So Jim measured the rest of the giant's head. Handy tape measure, isn't it? The giant gave Jim another gold coin and Jim climbed down the beanstalk as fast as he could, holding tight to the coin. He showed the coin to his mother, but before she could say anything, he ran off to the wig maker. The wig maker could hardly believe his eyes when he saw the giant gold coin, but he set to work straight away. He worked all night. I forgot to highlight that bit. We'll have to go back and do it. And in the morning, the wig was ready. Jim carried it home. Then he tied it on his back and he climbed the beanstalk. The giant loved his wig. "I look about 100 years younger," he said. He put on all his best clothes and he danced about the room, beaming at himself in the mirror. Beaming means a big smile, a big grin. He's really happy. "Marvellous! Wonderful!" he boomed. "I'm happy again. I feel like a new giant and my appetite has come back too." Uh-oh. He's hungry. Appetite means hunger. He's hungry again.
And his favourite food was 3 boys on toast.
Oh my goodness. The giant stood still and looked at Jim. "Fried boy," he said thoughtfully. Jim waited to hear no more. He ran to the beanstalk, slid down it as fast as he could, and landed below in a heap. So in like a pile, like he slumped down to the floor. Above him, he could hear the thunder of giants' footsteps, of big, loud footsteps. Seizing an axe, so grabbing an axe, Jim swung mightily with a lot of force, with all his power, and chopped down the beanstalk. At that very moment, the beanstalk fell. Something else landed beside Jim with a thud, a big loud noise. It was a huge piece of paper wrapped around a giant gold coin. On the paper was written, "Dear Jim, Thank you for the teeth and the glasses, also the lovely wig, your friend the giant. Jim ran inside and he showed the giant gold coin to his mother. At last you can keep a coin for yourself, she said. Somewhere in the distance, Jim heard the rumble of Giant's laughter. Ha 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 ha! That's a good story, isn't it?
It was a good story.
Okay, are you ready?
I am.
So we're going to do a freeze frame. So you wake up and you see an enormous beanstalk. I think we did this last week, but let's see it again. You look astonished.
I am astonished.
You look astounded.
I am astounded.
You're climbing the beanstalk and it's just such a long way. Oh, Mrs. Shuxiana, you look weary.
I am weary.
You look exhausted.
I am exhausted.
Good. Okay, you've helped the giant and you've made him feel very happy. Is this happy? Happy. You've made him very happy. Oh, doesn't she look proud?
I am proud.
And don't you look delighted?
I am delighted.
And you found the letter from the giant at the end.
Ooh.
I found the letter. Oh goodness. You look cheery.
I am cheery.
You look contented.
I am contented. A giant gold coin. Lucky me.
Okay, are you ready to play Which Sentence is Right?
Okay.
Okay. This is a traditional tale.
This is a traditional tale.
This is not a traditional tale.
This is not a traditional tale.
Which one do you think is right?
Well, this is like the traditional tale, Jack and the Beanstalk, but it is quite different. So I'm going to say it's not a traditional tale.
Superstar.
Oh.
I would agree. It is not a traditional tale.
Not a traditional tale.
Okay, number 2. Jim is greedy and selfish.
Jim is greedy and selfish.
Jim is kind-natured.
Jim is kind-natured.
Which do you think, Mrs. Shuxiana?
He did help that giant with an awful lot of things, so I think he could be kind-natured.
I would agree. He is kind-natured.
He is kind-natured.
Okay, number 3. The giant is decrepit.
The giant is decrepit.
That means that he's worn out and he's sort of ruined by his age. He's tired, he's worn out. Oh. Or the giant is fit and healthy.
The giant is fit and healthy. At first I didn't know what decrepit means, but now you explained it, I think it could be that the giant is decrepit.
I would agree, because he needed new teeth, he needed glasses, he needed a wig, he's sort of falling apart a little bit, which happens as we get old, but it's okay. He's still a super giant.
Okay.
And number 4. The giant was miserable before Jim.
The giant was miserable before Jim.
Or the giant was content before Jim.
The giant was content before Jim.
What do you think?
I think he had a very big sad face on one of these pages, I remember.
If I can find it, I'll put this face through.
Really sad. There it was. A
Oh,
really
look.
sad face. So I think that the giant was miserable before Jim.
I would agree. He did look miserable. He looked sad, miserable. Lovely. Okay, last part. Are you ready to quiz the character?
Okay.
So, giant. You're being the giant.
Okay.
The giant. Why did you think Jim was visiting you at the start?
Well, I thought he was going to be like that pesky little boy.
Pesky. They
Yeah,
did say pesky.
very
Didn't they?
pesky.
Do you remember what his name was?
Jack.
Jack.
So I thought he was going to come and steal my things. That's what I thought.
Are you glad that he didn't?
So glad.
Okay, number 2. Why haven't you been happy since Jack visited?
Oh, well, Jack stole my golden heart, my golden eggs, and was there one more thing? Or just his gold?
I think it was his gold.
His
wasn't
gold. So Jack stole all my gold.
it? We don't steal, do we?
No.
Okay, number 3. Would you really have eaten Jim?
This is a tricky one. I wonder. Well, I think that maybe the giant was being a bit playful near the end. And he wanted Jim to think that
Just
he
tricking
might
him.
eat him. But I don't know that he would, because Jim was very kind to him. He probably wouldn't have
Bit
hurt him.
tricksy. And the last one. What do you think Jim should or will spend his coin on?
Well, I've seen Jim's house from my Castle in the Sky, and I think that maybe his mum and he might need a little bit of money to get their house a bit nicer and have some food in their cupboards.
Love it. Okay, that is the end of our Jim and the Beanstalk. We would love it if you perhaps pause the video and have a go at answering those questions yourself. So you might want to go back to the beginning of the questions, adults, and pause it so the children have a go at answering the questions as well. But I enjoyed that. Thank you, Ms. Cheeks.
Me too.